What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Fearless Nick YouTube channel, and in today's video I'll be going through my official AFL finals predictions for 2023. If you guys go on to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like, share and subscribe. That'd be very much appreciated. I'm on the road to 500 subs, and yeah, I'm trying to get there as soon as possible, so yeah, a like and sub would be very much appreciated, as it really helps the channel out a whole lot. Make sure to comment down below your finals predictions down in the comments, as well, as this is a very subjective topic. So yeah, make sure to leave your thoughts on this final series down below in the comments. So without wasting any more time, ladies and gentlemen, let's get straight into it. So we kick things off on the Thursday night. It is an absolute blockbuster of a match, this one. I'd arguably say this is probably the biggest game of the entire week one of the final series, to be honest. We've got Collingwood taking on Melbourne at the MCG on the Thursday night to kick off the final series for 2023. Now, obviously, last time these two played off earlier on in the season, it was on King's birthday. And the D's actually ended up getting up by 4 points, and I'd arguably say that's when Collingwood were probably in their strongest form of the entire season. Really shows that they actually can take it up to the best, the D's. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't be ruling the D's out in this one. While I think this will be a good game, and I think the D's will be so brave in this game, unfortunately, I think Collingwood will be too strong in this game. So I am going to be tipping Collingwood to knock off the D's in the first qualifying final here at the MCG on the Thursday night. Yeah, I think Collingwood will be too strong there for the D's. Moving down now to the first elimination final. We have got Carlton taking on Sydney on the Friday night at the MCG. Now, the Blues, obviously last week against the Giants, they weren't, I'm going to be honest, they were pretty awful, to be honest, the Blues. They just let the Giants run all over them, especially in that second half. And if I'm going to be honest, I actually reckon Sydney, they're a little bit of a dark horse in this final series. I know they did finish 8th. Look, to be honest, I can see a bit of an upset happening here in this game. I think the Blues probably should win, but like I said, never doubt the Swans, because they are a dangerous team, like I said, at this time of year, the Swans. Although, if we're going off this season, I know both sides did finish the season very well, but I feel like the Blues might just get the upper hand here, just because, yeah, they haven't made finals in so long, the Blues. So I think they will be ready for this game. And although I think Sydney, they could potentially pinch an upset here against the Blues, I think the Blues will be too strong here in this game. So I am going to be tipping the Blues to get the job done here over the Swans in the first elimination final. Like I said, I could see an upset happening, but just because the Blues, they've waited so long for this day, I just think they've got to get the job done here, the Blues, especially in front of a home crowd and all the Blues fans going nuts. So, yeah, I reckon the Blues will be too strong here for the Swans in the first elimination final at the MCG. Moving down now to possibly the most interesting match of the entire first week of finals. We have got St Kilda taking on GWS on the Saturday afternoon or evening. I don't really know. I think it's the afternoon, but wow, gee, haven't these two sides really defied a lot of people's expectations on them this year? St Kilda, I don't think many people would have had them in the top 8 at the start of the year, and look at them now. They've ended up finishing 6, and to be honest, they're pretty unlucky not to be higher, to be honest, considering they did have a bit of a rough patch in the middle of the year. Whereas the Giants, like, the same could be said for them. They've had an absolutely ripping season as well. They had a very good win in the last round of the season a couple of weeks ago now against the Blues, where I don't think a lot of people expected them to win, and they actually got it done quite convincingly. So fair play to the Giants. That was a very good effort. Although I feel like there is going to be at least one upset in this first week of finals, and if it's not Sydney getting up over Carlton, I feel like it could be this game. So believe it or not, I'm actually going to tip GWS to upset St Kilda in the first week of finals. Look, no disrespect No discredit to St Kilda. They've had an absolutely awesome season. I've loved what the Saints have done all season. And like I said, this could genuinely go either way. I don't actually know who to go here, but just because the Giants played so well against the Blues a couple of weeks ago, away from home as well, I actually reckon in a big final like this, I actually reckon GWS, they'll stand up and they will actually upset and eliminate St Kilda in the first week of final. Moving down now to the final game of round number 1 of the 2023 finals. We have got Brisbane taking on Port Adelaide at the Gabba on the Saturday night. Now, Brisbane, look, to be honest, towards the back end of this season, they've been a little bit shaky, I'm not going to lie. Even at the Gabba, I think they've come close to losing their last 2 games at the Gabba to Adelaide and also St Kilda. Although, on the other hand, Port Adelaide, look, they're probably looking the most vulnerable right now out of the top 4. I actually don't think Port Adelaide looked that impressive against Richmond a couple of weeks ago. I know they did get the job done quite convincingly at the end, but it actually took until the last, I'd say, 5 minutes of the game to really put Richmond away. And, you know, that Richmond side was playing half a VFL side. So, to be honest, I actually reckon Port Adelaide, they probably look the most vulnerable right now out of the entire top 8, I want to say, to be honest. So, with all that said, I think this is probably the easiest tip of the round. I think I am going to be tipping Brisbane here to get up in the second qualifying final against Port Adelaide. Also, because it's at the Gabba, and like I said, the Lions, they very rarely, in fact, they haven't lost at the Gabba this year, the Lions. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to start now, especially because, you know, it is a final and they will want to lock in that home preliminary final, the Lions, at the Gabba as well. So I reckon Brisbane, they will be a little bit too strong here for Port Adelaide in the second qualifying final. Moving on now to the semi-finals, my predicted semi-finals for season 2023. The first game, I assume this will be the first game of the 2. It'll probably be played on the Friday night if this does come to fruition. We have got Melbourne taking on Carlton at the MCG for some semi-finals footy action. Now, obviously, we know last time these two met, it was quite a controversial finish. Obviously, that Christian Petrarca non-goal, resulting in the Blues upsetting the D's to get up by 4 points to pretty much lock the Blues in for finals. Although, even though the Blues will be riding the momentum from the week prior, according to my predictions against the Swans, I just think if Melbourne lose that first final against Collingwood, I think the very next week, I think they'll want to come out and absolutely destroy who they come up against in the semi, which in my predictions case is Carlton. And like I said, although Carlton will be riding the momentum after coming off a win, I just think because the D's have got more finals experience, they're more mature, and the Blues, they've had a good run, but I just think the D's, come finals time, are just going to be more mature and more ready to get the job done here over the Blues. So I am going to be tipping the D's to, unfortunately, eliminate the Blues in the second week of finals. Like I said, the Blues, they've had a great run, but I don't know if I can see them winning 2 finals. I can definitely see them winning 1. I don't know about the second final, though. I think Melbourne, if they do come up against Melbourne, that is the Blues, I think Melbourne are just going to be too angry and too frustrated after losing to Collingwood the week prior. Moving down now to the second semi-final. This will probably be played on the Saturday night if this does happen. We've got Port Adelaide taking on GWS at the Adelaide Oval. Now, this is a real coin flip, to be honest, this one. I really don't know. Port Adelaide, you feel like, because it's in Adelaide, you'd expect Port Adelaide to get the job done. But like I said, I feel like there's going to be a team who's going to really shock a lot of people this year. And I actually reckon it could be GWS that really take a lot of people by surprise by winning maybe 1 or maybe even 2 finals. You never know. But as we all know, Finals are a different season. It's like a new season. You just never know what can happen in finals. It's just a strange odd period of the year, but that's why we love it as footy fans, because you never know who's going to get the job done in finals, because like I said, it's pretty much a new season. You know what? I'm actually feeling bold enough to tip GWS. So I'm actually going to predict GWS to upset Port Adelaide in the second semi-final at the Adelaide Oval. I don't know, I just got a sneaky feeling there'll be this team, you know, from outside the top four who may win one or maybe even two finals. And if you actually look at GWS's last few games at the Adelaide Oval, apart from the game most recently against Port Adelaide, they've actually had a very good record at the Adelaide Oval, the Giants. And like I said, finals, it's just a different game. It's just, you never know what can happen. So I'm actually going to be tipping GWS to make a prelim final and really just leave the footy world in shock as they advance into a prelim final. Moving on now to the prelim finals. Well, my predicted prelim finals, that is. The first preliminary final we have is between Collingwood and GWS at the MCG. Now, this is going to be an absolute sellout. I know GWS probably won't have a whole lot of fans at this game. It'll probably most likely be 95% Collingwood fans in the crowd. But I tell you what, like I said, GWS, you just never know. They're just that underdog side that you just never know come finals time what they're going to do. They could either go out week one, like I said earlier, or they could genuinely go as far as a prelim, I reckon. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember a specific game back in 2019 where GWS came to the MCG in a prelim final against Collingwood and upset the Pies by 1 point to qualify for the grand final. I think that was in 2019. So believe it or not, the Giants have actually toppled Collingwood in a prelim before. I just think this will be a bridge too far, unfortunately, for GWS. So I am going to be tipping Collingwood to get through to the grand final. I just think this will be a bridge too far for the Giants. You know, they're a very young side still with a lot of upside, but I don't think the Giants are going to be able to topple Collingwood in the first prelim final. So I am going to be tipping Collingwood to get through to the grand final. And yeah, I just think they're going to be too strong here for GWS. And yeah, they're going to qualify Collingwood for their first grand final since 2018. Moving down now to the second preliminary final, and I'd arguably say this is probably the more intriguing match of the two, if you're a neutral, that is. We have got Brisbane taking on Melbourne at the Gabba, possibly on the Saturday night. Now, obviously, we know the last couple of times these two have played off in some pretty decent matches, I'm going to be honest. Last time these two played off, obviously, we all know Brisbane. They played very well for 3 quarters. Looked like they were on their way to a pretty big victory by the looks of it. And then all of a sudden, you know, Melbourne, they started pouring on goals, and they actually came, I think, from 40 or 30 points down from that third quarter onwards to actually win by 1 point in an absolute thriller. Obviously, we know Jake Melksham kicking the winner in that game. Because it's at the Gabba, you'd expect Brisbane to have the upper hand. But I don't know, Melbourne, they're just one of those sides who seem to be able to beat Brisbane no matter where it is. I know earlier on in the season, these two faced off at the Gabba, and the Lions won, but Melbourne came charging home with a full head of steam, and they easily could have won that game, to be honest. Jeez, I actually don't know who to tip here. This is driving me insane. I've been sitting here for the last few minutes. I don't know who to tip, because you feel like Brisbane should win, but it would be a very Brisbane thing to do to lose the prelim, wouldn't it? I mean, the last few years, Brisbane, you know, they've come very close to making the granny, but have fallen short in the prelim. But surely this time, Brisbane have learnt from their, you know, prelim final mistakes of previous seasons. And surely they've got to come out here, the Lions, and finally make that dreaded grand final that they've been trying to for the last few years, the Lions. Look, like I said, this could be one of the games of the final series, and I think it'll go right down to the wire like it did last time these two played. But this time, I think Brisbane will make sure they get the job done, no matter how much it costs. And I feel like Brisbane will get the job done over the D's to qualify for the grand final for season 2023. Like I said, this could be one of the games of the final series. I genuinely don't know who to tip here in this one. I feel like Melbourne could genuinely win this game. Like, it's definitely not out of their possibility. So I am going to be tipping Brisbane to qualify for their first grand final since 2004. Like I said, I could genuinely see the D's winning. It wouldn't really shock me. This is definitely within Melbourne's capability to upset the Lions here, even at the Gabba. But I just think Brisbane, their time has come. It's about time they made the grand final. The Lions, they've got probably one of the best lists on paper, and eliminate the D's in the prelim final. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. This is what everyone has been waiting for. My 2023 grand final prediction will be Collingwood and Brisbane at the MCG on the last day in September. Now, this will instantly attract a massive crowd. It's going to be first v second according to the ladder. According to a lot of experts, it's the best two sides in the competition. I mean, make of that what you will. I think Melbourne are probably up there as well, along with these two other sides. Obviously, the last time these two faced off in a grand final, I believe it was 2003, I think, or 2002, one of those two Brisbane premierships. So, yeah, these two haven't faced off in a grand final for quite a while. So, yeah, it will be interesting. We haven't seen Brisbane in a grand final for, oh my God, I don't even know how long, since 2004. Collingwood, on the other hand, you can't underestimate them. I think every time Collingwood get underestimated, they always prove people wrong. Although Collingwood are coming into this final series with not so great form, like I said, I feel like as soon as you start underestimating Collingwood, they immediately start proving you wrong. So take my advice, never underestimate Collingwood, because I made that fatal mistake on a certain day that we will not talk about in 2018, thinking Richmond would just get the job done, and Collingwood absolutely smacked us. So take my advice, never underestimate Collingwood, because I learned that the hard way in 2018. But getting back to this game, look, this could go one of two ways. This could genuinely be one of the greatest grand finals we've ever seen, or Collingwood come out and absolutely pump Brisbane. That's the two ways I can see this going. If it's an arm wrestle, then it could genuinely go either way. I don't really know. Considering it's the MCG, you'd think Collingwood obviously get the advantage, considering they're playing in front of their home fans and on their home deck. But unfortunately, I think when it comes to grand final day, considering Brisbane's inexperience, and although they have beaten Collingwood the last few times, that has been at Marvel Stadium or the Gabba, where the Lions typically get the advantage, considering Collingwood don't really play too well at either of those two grounds. So, unfortunately, as much as I will hate it, and I hate doing this, but I think Collingwood will win the flag. There you go. I think Collingwood will win the flag. Like I said, you know, Brisbane, they've been gallant all year. And like I said, if there's one side to beat Collingwood, it's probably Brisbane. I think Collingwood will beat Brisbane on grand final day. Like I said, this is very subjective, so make sure you leave your predictions down in the comments. But there you go. I reckon the 2023 premiers will unfortunately be the Collingwood Footy Club. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those were my official AFL finals predictions for season 2023. And this is probably one of my favourite videos to do every year, because obviously finals footy is definitely the best time of year for any footy fan. Even if your side, like my team, is not in the finals, it's just so exciting just seeing this finals series. Even when your side's not in the finals, like my team, it's just so interesting to see what finals matches could pan out according to your predictions. So make sure to leave your predictions down below in the comments. I'd really like to know who you guys are predicting to win the flag, and what is your grand final prediction. I'd really like to know. Also, before we wrap up this video, I just wanted to make an announcement. I promised you I would do this or I would announce this at some point later down the track, and I feel like I'm going to announce it now. The winner of the Fearless Nick tipping comp for 2023 was Team Wiggles, Shannon Humphreys. So yeah, shout out to you, Shannon. Massive shout out, mate. Congratulations. He finished one single tip above Ben P, who came in second. But to be honest, shout out to everyone, to be honest, who joined the tipping comp. You know, it was really a lot of fun. I'll definitely be doing this next year as well. So yeah, make sure you join the tipping comp next year if you didn't get a chance to this year. Remember, if you did go on to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. I'm on the road to 500 subs, and don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen, I will be pumping out a lot of off-season content like I did last year. So make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers!